I had already lost my job, my home, and nearly the strength to keep moving forward. So buying a rusted car for scrap felt like my last shot at surviving another month. But the second I opened a hidden panel beneath its floor, I realized someone had hidden something inside. Something valuable enough that strangers started watching my house that very night. And before morning came, one chilling truth settled in. The car hadn't been abandoned. It had been waiting for the right person to discover its secret. If you've ever felt like life saves its biggest twists for your lowest moments, stay with me. Because what happened next completely changed how I understood luck, truth, and the moment an ordinary life collides with something far bigger than itself. Before we continue, make sure you're part of our YouTube family by subscribing to the channel. If you enjoy powerful stories like this, leave a like and tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is right now. Now, let's begin the story. The day I bought the car, I had exactly $40 left in my bank account and nowhere left to go. The scrapyard owner warned me 3 times not to touch it, and yet, buried beneath layers of rust and silence, that broken car was hiding something someone clearly didn't want found. I didn't know it then, but opening that door would almost cost me my life. If you've ever felt like life backed you into a corner, like every decision you made somehow led you deeper into failure, then you'll understand why I ignored the warning signs that day. Because when you have nothing left to lose, danger stops looking dangerous. It starts looking like hope. Rain tapped against the cracked windshield of my old pickup as I sat outside the bank, staring at the foreclosure notice folded in my hands. Final notice! 30 days. That's all they gave me before taking the house my father built with his own hands. I remember laughing, not because it was funny, but because my brain didn't know what else to do. 6 months earlier, I had a job, a routine, a future that made sense. Then the factory shut down overnight. One email, one locked gate. 23 years of work erased before sunrise. I tried everything after that. Construction jobs, delivery driving, night shifts at warehouses. Nothing lasted. Bills stacked like bricks around my chest until breathing itself felt expensive. And then my girlfriend left. I can't keep living inside survival mode, she told me while packing her suitcase. No yelling, no anger, just exhaustion. That hurt more because she wasn't wrong. After she closed the door, the house felt enormous and empty, every room echoing with reminders of what I used to be. That was 3 weeks before I ended up at Calder's Auto Salvage. The scrapyard sat at the edge of town where the pavement gave up and dirt roads took over. Rows of dead vehicles stretched across acres like metal graves. Bent doors, broken glass, sun, faded paint peeling like old skin. I wasn't there to restore anything. I was there to survive. Scrap flipping was the last idea I had left. Buy junk cheap, strip parts, sell metal. Not glamorous, but people online claimed you could make quick cash if you were lucky. Luck and I hadn't spoken in years. Still, I walked into the small office where an old man sat watching a tiny television balanced on milk crates. You buying or dreaming? He asked without looking up. Buying, I said. My voice sounded more confident than I felt. He finally turned. Grey beard, oil-stained hands, eyes sharp enough to measure lies. Budget? I hesitated. Under 50. He laughed so hard he coughed. Well, he said, grabbing a ring of keys, you're shopping in the graveyard section. We walked past rows of crushed sedans and stripped trucks until we reached the far end of the yard, a place even the workers seemed to avoid. That's where I saw it. A 1970s sedan, once black but now consumed by rust. Tires half buried in dirt, windows clouded with grime. Something about it felt wrong, not broken. Abandoned, like it had been waiting. I stepped closer. The air felt colder near it, though the afternoon sun burned overhead. How much? I asked. The old man didn't answer immediately. Instead, he lit a cigarette and watched me carefully. That one came in last month, he said slowly. No paperwork. No owner claim. Towed from an abandoned storage unit outside county lines. So, he replied, exhaling smoke. Nobody strips it. I frowned. Why not? He shrugged. Bad luck, maybe. I almost laughed. I didn't believe in superstition. I believed in unpaid bills. "I'll take it," I said. He studied me again, longer this time. "You sure?" "It runs." "Engine turns." "Then yeah." He nodded once, like a man watching someone make a mistake he couldn't stop.
$40.
I handed over nearly everything I had. As he wrote the receipt, he added quietly, "Kid, if you find anything inside that doesn't make sense. You didn't get it from here." I thought he was joking. I wish he had been. The first time I opened the driver's door, it screamed like it hadn't moved in decades. Dust exploded into the air. The interior smelled of old leather and something metallic, almost sweet. I slid into the seat, which cracked beneath my weight. The steering wheel felt heavy, solid, built from another era. On the dashboard sat a faded photograph. A man and a young boy standing beside the same car, both smiling. I picked it up. The edges were worn, like someone had held it often. Why would anyone leave something like this behind? I flipped the photo over. Nothing written. Still, I slipped it into my pocket without thinking. I told myself it was just trash. But deep down, something told me that photo mattered. I just didn't know why yet. The engine surprisingly started after a few tries, coughing alive like an old smoker waking from sleep. I drove it home slowly, afraid the wheels might fall off. Neighbors stared. Honestly, I probably looked insane. A grown man grinning while driving a rust bucket, barely holding together. But for the first time in months, I felt movement. Forward. That night, under a flickering garage light, I began inspecting my investment. Glove box, empty. Backseat, torn upholstery. Trunk, rusted tools, nothing valuable. Disappointment settled in quickly. I'd spent my last money on junk. Again, around midnight, I almost quit. Then I noticed something strange. The rear floor panel sat slightly higher than the rest. Just a few millimeters. Most people wouldn't notice. But years of fixing things with my dad taught me one rule. Machines don't make mistakes. People do. I pressed down. Solid. I knocked on it. Thunk. Not hollow, but not right either. I grabbed a screwdriver and pried gently at the edge. The panel didn't move. Instead, I heard a faint metallic click somewhere deeper inside the car. I froze. The sound wasn't random. It sounded mechanical, intentional, like I had triggered something. I searched around, heart beating faster. Nothing. No opening. No compartment. Just silence. Probably loose parts, I muttered. Still, unease crawled across my skin. I locked the garage and went inside. But sleep didn't come. Every time I closed my eyes, I heard that click again. And I couldn't shake the feeling that somewhere inside that rusted car, something had just woken up. At 2:17 a.m., a sound outside snapped me awake. Car tires. Slow. Stopping near my house. I sat up instantly. Nobody visited me anymore. Through the curtain, I saw headlights parked across the street. Engine running. Windows tinted. Waiting. For 10 long seconds, nothing happened. Then the car drove away. Maybe coincidence, maybe not. But the next morning, when I returned to the garage, the driver's door of the rusty sedan was slightly open. I was absolutely certain I had locked it. And resting on the seat, where nothing had been before, was a small folded piece of paper. My hands trembled as I picked it up. 3 words were written in black ink. Don't open it. I stood there, heart pounding, staring at the car, at the raised floor panel, at the mystery someone clearly wanted buried. And for the first time, I realized buying that car might not have been luck. It might have been a warning. The question was, a warning for who? Me, or whoever had just realized I now owned their secret. I didn't touch the note for a long time. Not because I was scared, at least that's what I kept telling myself, but because touching it meant admitting something was very, very wrong. Morning light leaked through the garage window, cutting across the dusty hood of the car like a spotlight. The paper sat in my hand, light as air but heavier than anything I'd carried in months. Don't open it. No signature, no explanation, just a command. I checked the garage lock again. Still intact. No signs of forced entry. Nothing stolen. Nothing moved. Except that note appearing out of nowhere, which meant one thing. Someone had access. Or worse, someone was watching. A chill crawled up my spine as I slowly walked around the car, inspecting every inch. The rust looked the same. The cracked tires hadn't shifted, but now I noticed details I'd ignored before. Tiny scratches near the rear door seam. Fresh ones. Not old corrosion. Recent. My stomach tightened. Someone had been here last night. And they weren't trying to steal the car. They were checking it. Checking me. I went back inside, locked every door, and sat at the kitchen table staring at the photograph I'd taken from the dashboard. The man in the photo looked proud. Late 40s, maybe. Grease under his fingernails. The kid beside him couldn't have been older than 8. Father and son. Happy? Normal. Nothing about them suggested secrets or warnings. But if this car mattered enough for strangers to break into my garage, then whoever owned it before wasn't ordinary. I flipped the photo again. Still blank, but this time under sunlight. I noticed faint impressions, like something had once been written and erased. I grabbed a pencil and lightly shaded over the back. Letters slowly appeared. Not fully clear, just enough. Evan, always remember where we hid it. My breath caught. Evan, the boy's name, and we hid it, not I. We, meaning the secret wasn't accidental. It was intentional. Hidden, protected. Suddenly the raised floor panel flashed in my mind. The click, the warning note, and the car outside my house last night. Whatever was inside that vehicle. Someone believed it was still there. I should have walked away. Sold the car for scrap and pretended none of this happened. That would have been the smart choice. The safe choice. But safety had never paid my bills. And curiosity felt stronger than fear. I grabbed my tools. Back in the garage, the air felt heavier, like the space itself was holding its breath. I knelt beside the rear floor panel again. Up close, I noticed something new, a nearly invisible seam running along the metal edge. Not factory-made, too precise. Custom work. Someone had modified this car carefully. I pressed again. Nothing. I knocked twice. Solid. Then I remembered the sound from last night. The metallic click. A mechanism, meaning there had to be a trigger somewhere else. I searched the dashboard again. Seats. Doors. Nothing. Frustration built quickly. Come on, I muttered. Then my hand brushed the underside of the steering column. There. A tiny switch, smaller than a fingernail, hidden behind wiring. Not original, my pulse hammered. Who installs a hidden switch in a junk car? Only someone hiding something worth protecting. I hesitated. The words echoed again. Don't open it. For a moment doubt crept in. Maybe this wasn't treasure. Maybe it was drugs, or evidence, or something illegal enough to ruin whatever life I had left. But then another thought hit harder. Someone already knew I had the car, which meant walking away wouldn't erase me from this. I flipped the switch. Click. A deep, mechanical sound echoed beneath the floor. The rear panel shifted upward by half an inch. I jumped back, heart racing. Slowly, carefully, I pried it open. Dust fell away as the hidden compartment revealed itself. Inside sat a metal box, no larger than a shoebox, matte gray, perfectly preserved despite decades of decay around it. No markings, no lock visible, just a single recessed handle. For several seconds I didn't move. Every instinct screamed that opening it would change everything. And instincts are rarely wrong. Still, I lifted it out. Heavy, much heavier than it looked. I placed it on the workbench. My hands trembled. What did you hide? I whispered. Before I could open it, a car engine roared outside. I froze. Tires crunched on gravel, not passing by. Stopping, right outside my house. Slow footsteps approached. 1, 2, 3. A shadow crossed the garage window. Someone knocked on the side door. 3 calm taps, not aggressive. Confident, like they knew I was inside. I stayed silent. Another knock, then a man's voice. Listen, he said casually. We know you found the compartment. My blood turned cold. We're not here to cause problems, he continued. You bought something that doesn't belong to you. Happens all the time. We, plural. I glanced at the metal box. Suddenly it felt radioactive. I just want to talk, the voice added. Silence stretched between us. Every survival instinct told me not to open that door. So I didn't. After a moment, the man sighed. "You don't understand what you're involved in," he said quietly. That car was supposed to disappear. Footsteps retreated. Car doors shut. Engine started. They drove away. Only then did I realize I had stopped breathing. I locked the garage and rushed inside with the box, closing every curtain. My hands shook as adrenaline flooded through me. This wasn't random anymore. Someone wanted whatever was inside badly enough to track the car and me, which meant one thing. The box mattered. A lot. I placed it on the kitchen table. For a long time, I just stared at it. Fear battled curiosity. Curiosity won. The lid opened with a soft hiss. Inside were 3 items: a leather journal, a sealed envelope labeled "If Found," and a small velvet pouch. I ignored the pouch first and opened the journal. The first page read, "If you're reading this, Evan, it means I failed to keep you safe." My chest tightened. This wasn't treasure. This was a message. A father's message. Page after page described someone being watched. Followed, threatened. A company mentioned repeatedly. Halcyon Industries. I had never heard the name before, but the tone changed every time it appeared. Fearful, urgent, desperate. "They think the prototype was destroyed," one entry read. "The car is the only place they'll never look." Prototype. My eyes moved faster. They will lie. They will threaten. Do not trust anyone claiming ownership. My stomach dropped. Outside, a car passed slowly down my street again. Too slowly. I turned the page. And that's when everything changed. Taped to the next page was a photograph. Not of family. Not of memories, but of a laboratory. And inside the lab, sitting on a testing platform, was the exact same metal box now resting on my kitchen table. Except in the photo, it was surrounded by scientists and armed security. Below the picture, handwritten words read, "This device can change energy forever. That's why they must never control it." My breath left my lungs. Energy? Device? This wasn't hidden money. This wasn't crime evidence. This was something far bigger. And suddenly the warning note made sense. They weren't protecting me. They were protecting the secret. A loud notification buzzed on my phone. Unknown number. One text message. You opened it. I stared at the screen as another message appeared seconds later. Now there's no going back. And at that exact moment, the power in my house went out. Darkness swallowed the house so completely that, for a second, I thought I had gone blind. The refrigerator hum died. The ceiling fan slowed, then stopped. Even the faint street noise outside seemed to disappear. Only my breathing remained, loud, uneven, afraid. I stood frozen beside the kitchen table, staring at the metal box, barely visible in the dim gray, light coming through the window. The message still glowed on my phone screen. You opened it. Now there's no going back. A second vibration hit. Unknown number. Stay calm. They're coming. My stomach dropped. They, not we. Different sender, different intention, which meant more than one group knew about the box. And suddenly I understood something terrifying. I wasn't caught between curiosity and danger anymore. I was caught between sides. Headlights flashed across my living room wall. Multiple vehicles. Doors slammed outside. Heavy footsteps. Not cautious like before. Organized. Professional. I ducked low and moved toward the window just enough to peek through the curtain. 2 black SUVs. No license plates. Men stepping out wearing dark jackets, moving with practiced coordination. One of them pointed toward my house. My pulse exploded. They hadn't come to talk. They had come to take. And maybe erase. The second message appeared on my phone. Back door, now! I hesitated. Trap? Help? I didn't know. But staying meant confrontation, and I had zero chance against whoever was outside. I grabbed the metal box, shoved the journal into my backpack, and ran toward the kitchen exit. The moment I opened the back door, a hooded figure grabbed my arm. I nearly screamed. Quiet, a woman whispered urgently. If they see you, it's over. Her voice was calm but intense, the voice of someone used to danger. Who are you? I whispered. No time, move. She pulled me toward a small car parked behind my fence, hidden by trees. Behind us, my front door burst open. Wood splintered. Boots thundered inside my house. My legs nearly gave out. We dove into our car, and she started the engine instantly, driving without headlights until we reached the main road. Only then did she switch them on. I turned back. My house disappeared behind us, along with whatever normal life I had left. For several minutes, neither of us spoke. Rain began falling again, tapping softly against the windshield. I clutched the box in my lap like it might vanish if I loosened my grip. Finally, I asked, "How did you know?" She kept her eyes on the road. Because they had been searching for that car for 12 years. 12 years. My throat went dry. "And you are?" She hesitated before answering. "My name is Mara. That doesn't explain why you just saved me." A faint smile crossed her face. "Because your car belonged to my father." Everything inside me stopped. I turned slowly toward her. "The photo," I said quietly. "The man and the boy." "The boy was my brother," she said. "Evan." The name from the journal. The message. The hidden secret. Suddenly the story snapped into focus, but only partially. "Your father hid this?" I asked, lifting the box slightly. Her jaw tightened. "He died trying to keep it away from Halcyon." The company name hit the air like thunder. "You know about them?" "I've spent half my life running from them." We drove for nearly an hour, leaving town roads behind and entering empty countryside. My phone lost signal completely. Eventually she pulled into an abandoned roadside motel, the kind people forgot existed. Broken neon sign flickering. Windows boarded. Lonely. Safe, or at least hidden. Inside one of the rooms, she locked 3 separate bolts before turning toward me. "Show me," she said. I placed the box on a dusty table. For a moment, neither of us touched it. Her expression softened, grief mixing with relief. "I wasn't sure it still existed," she whispered. "What is it?" I asked. She exhaled slowly. "My father was an engineer, energy systems specialist. Halcyon hired him to develop a next-generation power core." "That sounds normal." "It wasn't," she said. "He discovered a way to generate clean energy without fuel. No oil, no batteries. Practically unlimited output." My mind struggled to process it. "That would change everything." "Yes," she said quietly. "Which is exactly why Halcyon wanted control." She opened the velvet pouch from inside the box. A small, crystalline object rested inside, glowing faintly blue. Not bright, just enough to look alive. I stared, unable to look away. "That's the prototype core," she said. "The only one that worked?" It hummed softly, almost like breathing. "This tiny thing powers what?" "In testing." "Entire facilities?" I laughed nervously. "That's impossible." "That's what my father said too," she replied. "Until they realized what it meant." "And what's that?" Her eyes hardened. "If energy becomes free, entire industries collapse. Oil, utilities, governments, everything." The weight of the situation crashed onto me. This wasn't treasure. It was leverage against the world's most powerful systems. And I was holding it. She opened the sealed envelope labeled "If Found." Inside was a handwritten letter. Her father's handwriting shook slightly across the page. "If you're reading this, it means Halcyon has begun retrieval operations. They will not negotiate. They will erase evidence and people alike." My heartbeat pounded in my ears. I hid the core where only family would understand. The car represented freedom to Evan. No corporation would think to search. Something so personal. Mara's eyes watered as she continued reading. "They must never own this technology. Promise me you will find someone trustworthy. Someone outside their reach." The letter ended with a single line. "The future should belong to everyone." Silence filled the room. Finally, I asked the question sitting heavy in my chest. "Why didn't you take it before?" Her expression darkened. "I thought Halcyon destroyed it when my father died. They made sure I believed that." "So they've been hunting a ghost?" "Yes," she said. "Until you bought the car." A cold realization hit me. "They tracked the vehicle registration." She nodded. "And once you opened the compartment, their sensors probably detected the core activating." I swallowed hard. "So now they know exactly where we are?" She didn't answer immediately. That was answer enough. A distant engine sound echoed outside the motel. Both of us froze. Headlights swept briefly past the window, then faded. Not stopping, but searching. Mara stood quickly. "We can't stay long." "Where do we go?" She hesitated, then said something that changed everything again. "There's one place Halcyon can't legally operate." "And that is?" She met my eyes. "The original research facility my father shut down before he died." "You mean the lab from the photo?" "Yes." "Where is it?" She grabbed a map from her bag and unfolded it across the table. Her finger pointed toward a remote mountain region hundreds of miles away. Abandoned territory, isolated, dangerous. "They sealed it after an accident," she said. "But my father left something there, proof of what Halcyon tried to do." Proof, evidence, leverage, a chance to fight back. Fear twisted inside me. I was broke, unemployed, hunted, and completely unqualified for any of this. But another feeling rose stronger. Purpose. For the first time since losing everything, my life felt like it mattered again. "So," I said slowly, "we go there. And then what?" Her eyes burned with determination. "Then we expose them." Outside, thunder rolled across the sky, and deep down, I realized something terrifying and exhilarating at the same time. I wasn't just running anymore. I had chosen a side. And the moment we started that journey, Halcyon Industries would stop trying to retrieve the secret. They would start trying to eliminate us. The road into the mountains felt like crossing an invisible line between the life I used to know and something irreversible. By sunrise, civilization had faded behind us. No gas stations, no cell signal, no passing cars. Just endless forest, fog hanging low between trees, and a narrow road twisting upward like it didn't want visitors. Mara drove in silence, her hands steady on the wheel, eyes constantly checking the mirrors. I hadn't slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my front door exploding open. Strangers walking through my life like they owned it. "Do they ever stop?" I asked quietly. She knew who I meant. "No," she said. "Not once they decide something belongs to them." The metal box rested between us, wrapped in blankets. Even hidden, I could feel its faint vibration, like a heartbeat syncing with my own. I stared out the window. 2 days ago, my biggest problem was foreclosure. Now multinational hunters were chasing me across mountains because of a secret energy device. Life doesn't change slowly. Sometimes it flips in a single moment and never flips back. Around midday, we reached a rusted security gate barely standing between 2 stone pillars. A faded warning sign hung crookedly. "Restricted property, closed after incident." Mara stopped the car. "This is it," she said. I stepped out, cold mountain air hitting my lungs. The place felt abandoned in a way, deeper than neglect, like people had left in a hurry and never returned. Beyond the gate, a cracked road led toward a massive concrete structure, partially swallowed by nature. The research facility. Seeing it in real life sent chills through me. It looked exactly like the photograph from the journal, only now it felt haunted. "You sure nobody comes here?" I asked. She nodded. "Officially, a chemical explosion contaminated the site. Government sealed it. Unofficially, my father shut the project down after discovering Halcyon planned to weaponize the core." Weaponize. The word echoed heavily. Energy wasn't just power. It was control. We forced the gate open and drove slowly toward the building. Broken windows stared like empty eyes. Vines crawled across concrete walls. Wind whistled through shattered ventilation shafts, creating a low, haunting sound. I felt watched, not by people but by memories trapped inside the place. Inside the main entrance, dust covered everything. Old desks, fallen ceiling panels, emergency lights long dead. Mara moved confidently, like she had memorized the layout years ago. "My father brought us here once," she said softly, "before everything went wrong." Her voice carried grief she had learned to live with, but never escaped. We followed a hallway marked lab access. Halfway down, she stopped. "Wait." She crouched near the wall and brushed dust away, revealing a small keypad hidden behind a loose panel. "How do you know?" "He told me stories," she said. "I just didn't realize they were instructions." She entered a sequence. Nothing happened. For a second, disappointment hit. Then deep within the building, machinery groaned awake. Lights flickered weakly overhead. A hidden door slid open beside us. I stared. This place still has power? Backup systems, she said. He planned for someone to come back. Someone like her. Or someone like me. The secret room beyond was untouched by time. Clean! Sealed. Rows of servers lined the walls, still humming quietly. Screens blinked alive as we entered. At the center stood a reinforced workstation. This is where he finalized the prototype, she whispered. I placed the metal box carefully onto the table. As soon as it touched the surface, monitors activated automatically. Lines of data scrolled rapidly. Blueprints appeared. Energy output graphs. Schematics beyond anything I understood. The core inside the pouch glowed brighter, responding to the system. And then a video file opened by itself. A man appeared on screen. The same man from the photograph. Mara's father. He looked exhausted but determined. If you're seeing this, he began, Halcyon has already betrayed me. Mara covered her mouth, tears forming instantly. I discovered the core could produce limitless clean energy, he continued. But Halcyon's board decided scarcity was more profitable than progress. My fists clenched. They planned controlled shortages, engineered dependence. Entire nations would rely on power systems only they controlled. The room felt smaller as the truth settled in. This wasn't innovation. It was domination. I refused, he said. So they staged the accident and labeled me unstable. He leaned closer to the camera. The core is proof. The data here exposes everything. Contracts, internal communications, illegal testing. Mara whispered, evidence. Yes, I said quietly. Enough to destroy them. The video ended with one final message. Trust the one who finds this. They chose curiosity over fear. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then alarms suddenly screamed through the facility. Red lights flashed. My heart slammed against my ribs. What did we do? I asked. Mara rushed to a monitor. Her face went pale. They found us. Outside cameras activated automatically, displaying live feeds. 3 helicopters approaching fast over the mountains. Black, unmarked. My stomach dropped. How? She typed frantically. The core connected to the system. It must have pinged an old satellite network, meaning we had announced our location ourselves. Rotor blades thundered louder outside. Dust shook from the ceiling. They're early, she said. I thought we had more time. Fear surged through me, raw and overwhelming. We need to run. She shook her head. No, running won't end this. She turned toward me, eyes fierce. This is the moment my father prepared for. I realized what she meant. Fight back. Not with weapons, with truth. She plugged a drive into the server. We upload everything, she said. Global release. Once it's public, Halcyon can't bury it. The progress bar appeared. 1%. Outside, helicopters landed. Boots hit ground. Shouted commands echoed faintly through halls. 10%. I paced, panic rising. They'll be inside any second. She kept typing. They need the core intact. That buys us minutes. Glass shattered somewhere above. 15%. Footsteps closer now. Radios crackling. My instinct screamed to hide. But something inside me shifted. The scared man who bought scrap metal to survive felt distant now. I wasn't running anymore. Not from them. Not from life. I grabbed a metal pipe from the floor and stood near the doorway. What are you doing? She asked. Buying time. For the first time since meeting me, she smiled. 20%. Voices approached. A man shouted, "Secure the prototype room!" Heavy footsteps rushed toward us. I tightened my grip, heart racing. Fear still there, but now mixed with something stronger. Resolve. The door burst open. Armed men flooded the hallway. One stepped forward calmly, wearing a tailored suit instead of tactical gear. Corporate. Controlled. Powerful. I'm impressed, he said smoothly. You made it farther than most. His eyes landed on the box. Relief flickered across his face. Return company property, he said, and nobody gets hurt. I laughed, surprising even myself. This isn't property, I said. It's evidence. His smile vanished. You have no idea who you're challenging. Behind me, the upload bar climbed, 38%. Mara whispered, "Keep him talking." I stepped forward. "For 12 years you hunted this thing," I said. "Why? Afraid people might not need you anymore?" His expression hardened. "You think the world runs on ideals? Civilization survives on control." 8%. He signaled his men forward. Time was running out. And deep down I realized something terrifying. We weren't just fighting for survival anymore. We were fighting for the future itself. And only one side was walking out of this building with control.